Hello again. We are live on all of our Canvas platforms. We are on Facebook. We are on LinkedIn. We are on YouTube. We are on Twitter. This is the Instructure Canvas live stream here with our training team representative, Ann Blackwell, to tell you all about some special ways that you can use Canvas for special education. Now, Ann, this is a new offering or new topic with the training team, as I understand it.
It is. It's a brand new webinar titled Special Education in Canvas, but it's really best practices for everybody. Everybody can use these best design tips and tricks, and but it is geared towards some special ed topics as well.
Well, we're really excited, and thank you everybody out there that's joining us today to learn more about how you can use Canvas in special education. In the comment section, please tell us where you're from and any other questions or concerns that you might have for today's session. Anna's here to kind of take us to school and show us all the great things that are happening inside of Canvas. We might even have a little bit of a break when we talk about Studio. There's a really cool Studio video out there that we're releasing through a lot of our channels. We'd love to show it to you today as well, so stick around for that. As always, enjoy the live stream. Ann, take it away. I'll go ahead and share your screen here, and the floor is yours.
All right, so first of all, this was done with a committee of learning specialists here at Canvas. I'm going to introduce them as well because they had a large part with this. Their names are on the committee are Corey Chitwood and Danielle Sonic and myself, and together we have been collaborating on this webinar, and we all come from kind of different areas. So both Corey and Danielle come from the secondary level, and I come from the elementary level. And together we collaborated, and we have come up with some course design and some tricks for special ed. Now, the first thing we're going to be talking about today is, of course, in special education, what did we talk about? Differentiation. Right? So I don't know if you were aware that inside of Canvas, it is very seamless, very easy to differentiate. So differentiating due dates, right? So if you have, let's say, leveled groups, if you have different IEP goals, if you have speech language goals, whatever your goals are, you need some accommodation there with that extended time. You can very easily differentiate it in just using a due date. And the student is going to see their due date. They're not going to see all the other due dates. And you don't have to worry about that, right? So if you aren't familiar with that sort of thing, it is done in an assignment. So it can be done in a graded discussion, an assignment, a quiz. It cannot be done on a page, all right? So the way you just simply differentiate in a due date and an assignment, of course, you would just come in to the assignment itself. And when you're editing that assignment, you do have the ability down here at the very, very bottom to hit the add. And you can choose the students that you want the assignment to go to. For example, Nick and Thomas, they may need an extended due date. I can click that due date. I can say today is it. And then I can continue to add. I can hit add down here, differentiate this. Let's say I have a group that I need to extend, differentiate this for, and I can say, oh, Faith and Joe, they need a different due date. So I can say that their due date might be the 23rd. Bam, I have differentiated that. These two groups don't know about it. Very seamless, very easy to do so. So that's the first type of differentiation that we are going to be talking about inside of this. So we're going from very small to large. So what else can we differentiate? We can differentiate the assignment type. So up here at the top, when you have a submission type, let's talk about online, right? So you have these four choices. You have text entry, website URL, media recordings, file upload. So let's talk about text entry. Word processing can be a nightmare. especially if you are K-5. If you have occupational fine motor skill issues, this can be a major issue. So if they did not need that option, don't select it, don't give it to them. If they just need media recording, okay? So they can just speak it, make a very seamless video and upload that video as an assignment. This is a differentiation that you can do for these students. So we're also talking about differentiation of the assignment submission type as well. So some really easy things that you can do to make your life easier and to meet your students' needs. So I'm actually going to get rid of all this and save. Now, the other thing we also talk about inside of our webinar is some different ways that you can use assignments, all right? So I'm going to go back into modules, and I'm going to point out this ELA module to you. Now, at the top, notice I've got my module template, and I have some colors. And still on the subject of differentiation, we all differentiate in different ways, right? We might use colors, we might use animals, numbers, however you do this, all right? And what this is just a template that I have that is actually unpublished inside the course. I can just duplicate this module over and over and over. Now I can see that I've got my 3 groups for my mini lessons, 3 groups we do, and then I do by myself for each group. Now, coming down to that, the module in theory might be really long when you're looking at it as an instructor, all right? So I've got my mini lesson for my group, my We Do activity. Now, coming on down, I can see that I've got my different activities I do by myself. So each student is only going to see what has been assigned to them specifically, right? So in my yellow group, I know that this is Nick and Faith. They're not going to see the assignments down here that's for red and blue, because when I click in this assignment, the counting to 10 assignment, and I come into edit, I can see who's it assigned to. It is only assigned to these 2 students. It is not assigned to everybody, okay? So I'm going to show you what that looks like from the student view. So when I go into people, and let's say that Faith was one of those that was assigned to that yellow group, when she comes into this module, she is only going to see, check that out, she is seeing only the yellow, okay? Because it's that she's in the yellow group, it's only assigned to her. So I am not violating anything else, okay? So Nick's only, Faith is only seeing her assignment, she isn't seeing the red assignment or the blue assignment. So this is very nice for those students who might need that different type of submission, different due date, however you need to do this. So remember, you can do entire modules based on goals, IEP goals, whatever you need to do. Now, Canvas doesn't have a magical button that will differentiate a module. You do have to build it out item by item and assign it to those students. But when they come in, they will only see those things that are assigned to them. So notice, everybody gets these, we do mini lesson, and then I do myself. Only that group gets to see it. So some best practices here. Now, I'm going to stop acting as this user. And again, your module, when you build it, it might be very long, but it does not look that way to that student. So you can really customize this. Some other things that we're doing is we're talking about quiz accommodations, all right? So I'm going to address both classic quiz users and new quiz because I know we have both, right? So as I come in, I'm going to start with new quiz. And what we're going to do with our new quizzes, I know that the rich content editor is not, it does not have that video component inside of there. So I'm going to show you a quick little workaround. Notice inside of my new quiz, I have these little green boxes. And this is actually my oral admin inside of a new quiz. And how I'm building this is with a third-party app called Vocaroo. And so inside of this webinar, we're going to go through some tips and tricks like this as well to build in further accommodations if you need them. All right, so let me talk just a little bit about this. I'm actually going to go into preview so you can see what this looks like from the student view. And one of the things I like about Vocaroo as well, they can see it, all right? They can see the play button is big, it's not hidden. They really know what this is once they get used to it. So when they press
21 cents,
that's it. It just simply reads it.
65 cents.
So Vocaroo is this application right here. And I'm actually going to copy and give you this link in case you are wanting it right now. So I just dropped that in chat if you wanted to grab that, Eddie, and send it out. Vocaroo is very easy. You are able to embed just clicking on this and making a recording. Here is my recording. This is what I'm saying. Stopping. Save and share. Now what New Quizzes does have, it does have an embed, all right? So I can easily embed that by copying the embed code, coming on up, and then when I come in to edit, whoops, I do have the ability to embed right here. So I would just paste that in and say, okay. And bam, I've got oral admin inside of my new quizzes. So just a quick little workaround until that comes available in new quizzes. Really easy, seamless, very fast to do. And it's a great accommodation that I know a lot of teachers will actually enjoy. We're also talking about moderating. So let me, while I'm in a new quiz, let me go into moderate. And I absolutely love the moderation inside of new quizzes. I can't say enough about it. It gets me very excited, as you can tell. So here are all of my students, and I have not one, but two ways to accommodate my students in new quizzes, okay? So right here, you can see I've got accommodations. Now, this is like a great big umbrella, and this accommodates for all the quizzes inside of my course.
Hey, Ann, I'm going to jump in really quick here because I know we were talking about Vocaroo, I believe, is the item that you shared. From our Twitter user here from Texas, I believe, Tracy Smith asked, can't you just use the native Canvas audio recorder to accomplish some of the similar things? So I don't know if that was addressed or not, and I wanted to make sure we added it in before we moved on.
The audio recorder is actually not available in new quizzes.
Okay.
It is in Classic.
Oh, I got
it. Yes. So it is not in the rich content editor in new quizzes. That's why we did that little workaround in new. Now I am going to show you Classic.
Perfect.
In just 1 second.
Awesome. Thank you.
You can use the native.
Appreciate it.
So accommodations right here is a global accommodation. I don't know how your IEP is written for the accommodations, but when I was in the classroom, the most common thing I saw, I would say 8 times out of 10, would be a time multiplier. Like the student would get time and a half. Now, for the accommodations, again, this is for every single quiz or set, in new quizzes. So I have my time multiplier, additional time, or unlimited, and that would be for all quizzes. So great option. Also, I have a moderate in addition to that accommodation inside of new quizzes. So when I click moderate, now moderate inside of new quizzes is a one-off. And you can use it not only for IEP accommodations, you can also use it if the student gets kicked out, losing connectivity, that sort of thing. You can use it for that as well. So you can give a student an additional attempt here, and you can also give the time adjustment. Now notice it doesn't have the time multiplier, but you can give additional time and give unlimited time here. So you do have both of those tools, accommodations, global, and then the moderate would be one-off. So great options inside of the new quizzes. I really like new quizzes. If I could make a t-shirt, I would say it would say yay new quizzes. I really like them. Now, I like classic quizzes too. I'm not trying to discriminate against classic. So inside of classic quizzes, just as awesome, all right? Now, classic quizzes, I'm actually going to show you an example of a fully built out classic quiz. And let me come into my questions. Here we are. Now, here I am building the quiz, and you can see this was actually done with the native Canvas tool, all right? So I can come up, and here is my native Canvas tool. And the way I got this file recording in is you have this little play button, and you can actually make a recording of the question inside. So let me come on down. And update that question. All right, so if I wanted to orally read this question, Eric has 30 football cards to give equally to 5 friends. How many football cards does he have to give to each friend? I would come in, I would click that, I would just say record, and I would just record that directly in. I can even use a webcam, or I can just do the MP3 recording as well inside of classic quizzes. So doing these sorts of oral admin, great things that we're going over if you weren't aware. So this makes it a lot easier for teachers to provide that, resource teachers, special education to also provide that with their students as well. Now, let's talk a little bit about screen readers inside of quizzes. We do talk a little bit about screen readers. Now, everybody's different about what they're going to use there as a native screen reader. I'm going to talk about in just a second inside of Canvas called Immersive Reader, but it is only on pages. So if you are inside of a test needing a screen reader, a couple of options. You have read and write. That's a third-party tool we're talking about, and also a tool called Speak It. Now, read and write, great company. They provide this free to teachers. In fact, let me grab that link really quickly for that. If you're interested, I'm about to give this to you. Definitely get this for you and your students. I'm going to drop this in chat. Here it comes to you. It is worth its weight in gold if you are needing a great screen reader for lots of different reasons. It also has speech to text, so something to check out if you've never heard of it. But coming back in to that quiz, if I enable my read and write, and I can hover over, and it will read it to me. Now, also what I can do is I can highlight, and if I have another screen reader in, I can always
$0.76, $0.65, $16, $0.21, Next.
And of course, I have to stop it because it'll just keep on going. So it is able to be read with a screen reader in there. So lots of different options. Now, let's talk a little bit about accommodating in a classic quiz. When we come in and we accommodate in a classic quiz, not quite as many as options. We would have to come up and moderate. And inside of a classic, all we have is that pencil. And we can give the extra attempts here. And also, I really like this. I used it all the time. When I was an instructor using Canvas, we didn't have any quizzes. All we had was classic. And this is a feature I really like, manually unlock the quiz for the next attempt. Students would have to come to me for that. So all these different accommodations we are talking about. So great stuff in here. All right, we are also going to talk about screen readers. Canvas has got a couple of options in here. So I'm going to go back for a moment and I'm going to talk just a little bit about Studio, all right, and getting these oral directions inside of your course. Now, you can always record, like I showed you before, with directions by recording on the fly in the rich content editor. But there's also another option if you are a Studio user, all right, and Studio is a Canvas add-on. That's a native inside of Canvas. It actually does closed captioning for you. So let me show you an example of what a Studio media recording would look like. Now, another thing that we're talking about inside of this webinar are best practices. And one of those best practices is putting spoken directions inside of every assignment, every quiz, making sure they're in here to support all learners, no matter who they are, right? So this is my Studio recording. And if you look down here at the bottom, I have a closed captioning box. And when I click on this, I have the option to turn it to English. Now, I bet the question is, can I do this in another language? Absolutely. It will close caption in any language that you want it to. So you do have that. So I have hit that, I have hit English. And when I come over to play,
boys and girls, is we are going to go over our sight words.
notice.
So today we're going to practice our sight words for the week. And what I want you to do is as we're going through our sight words, I want you to point to the word on your screen and sound out the words. And I want you to keep coming back to this video throughout the week to help you learn the words.
So great option. If you have Studio, putting those directions in, closed captioning it is a fantastic option if you do have Studio or you are interested in getting Studio. Great option for you. And Eddie, I don't know if you wanted to say anything else about Studio while we're on that topic.
Well, why don't we? First, I want to address a couple things that are happening in the chat on our YouTube channel and on some of our other platforms about, new quizzes and old quizzes. The goal has never been to take away tools, because I know there's been a lot of talk on how long will classic quizzes be around, and there's just some really great functionality in classic quizzes that isn't necessarily there in new quizzes yet, and we understand those concerns as a company. I can't really speak because I'm not on the product marketing team, but I do know that these folks spend an awful lot of time making sure that the new product is better than the old product, and I can speak from experience with saying that. So I can't imagine that some of these things won't be worked out in the meantime. If you are extremely passionate about this topic, we do recommend that you submit some feedback, talk to your CSMs, talk to your Canvas administrators, and let them know that these are functionalities that you want to make sure are restored into the new quizzes. So I just like to say, I know there's like this East Coast, West Coast rivalry between new quizzes and old quizzes that tends to happen. And I just want to make sure that's out there, that we do hear those concerns. I know that the product team works day and night making sure that they provide something that's very consistent. content. Studio in general. Well, since you've approached the topic, let's just show everybody. Those of you that may have Studio, we don't know who's joining us today or where they're from, but Studio is an additional tool that can be used inside Canvas that is super impactful. And I'm glad that we kind of talked about it today, because we do have some brand new features, some things that are happening inside Canvas Studio that you might not be aware of. So we'd like to show you that now. Thanks, Anne. That was a great segue.
Learning wasn't meant to be a one-way street. For learning to stick, students need to do and make, not just watch and listen. They need interaction, collaboration, feedback. Canvas Studio transforms video learning by turning content into conversation. Here's how it works. Educators can create a variety of media experiences for their courses, from self-recorded video to interactive discussions around other content. Students can create videos too, as assignment submissions, presentations, peer feedback, or ways to practice. Everyone gets their own personal media library. Want to bring YouTube content into the mix? No problem. And accessibility is built right in. Focus students' attention with time-stamped comments, then turn those comments into conversations. Embed quiz questions to gauge understanding of key concepts at key moments. Then send the scores straight to the gradebook. Want a deeper look at engagement? Studio offers second-by-second, student-by-student analytics. See what's sinking in and what's falling flat. Personalize, refine, repeat. And of course, Canvas Studio integrates seamlessly with the Canvas LMS. That means Studio can deliver videos exactly how students and teachers want to see them through Canvas mobile apps. It means your institution gets full control of its video assets and a simple storage and bandwidth solution. And your students get richer Canvas courses, no extra logins, and a more fluid learning experience, whether they're online, in person, or somewhere in between. Ready to make video learning more powerful? Learn more about Canvas Studio at Instructure.com.
And I will put a link to, thanks to the content team that put that together. It's just a fantastic video that kind of overviews everything that student does, and it's super quick, just 2 minutes of your time. I will be putting in a link for those that want to learn more about Canvas Studio, because I do feel like it does have a place inside of accessibility and special education. So Anne, sorry we interrupted your the regular scheduled program for that quick message, but I'm glad we got to talk about it, because I'm a huge fan of Studio. I've always been a huge fan. And there's a question here about maybe a link to resources that you might be sharing or using. We're obviously putting links into the chat as we go along, but if there's anything else, Adam from Facebook, we are absolutely going to be putting those in to the chat as well as we go through this session. So thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And again, this new webinar, a host of information, lots of new things coming at you, new ideas, some really great course design. I know this is called special education. It is just solid course design. I'm going to be honest with you, best practices. So it's for everybody, even though it does have the special education. Now, let me talk about two things that are just really near and dear to this committee. Danielle and Corey and I are just so excited about these next two things. All right, so let's talk about collaboration, guys. All right. Inside of modules, first of all, when I was in the regular classroom, almost every day, the poor resource teacher, you would see me in her room because I always taught a classroom that I had high special ed population, and if they did not qualify, they were in that gray area. And so it was just, I had to accommodate, even though it may not have been on paperwork. So getting that collaboration, and sometimes when we're online, that's a little hard. Well, here's the great news. Here's the fantastic news. Canvas makes it easy. Here it is. You can share. So if you're a regular general classroom teacher like myself, and you're struggling to come up with these accommodated assignments, you can have your resource teacher #1 share. So they can make the accommodated module, and they can click, all right, And this is on every module, every quiz, every assignment, discussion. You can do this. So it goes big to small. So let's say they wanted this entire accommodated ELA module. You would come down and you can do send to, all right? So when I select send to, it's going to pop up. Who do I want to send this to? So let's say I'm a resource teacher and I want to send it to all my 3rd grade teachers. Or if I'm in middle school and I want to send it to all my math teachers, okay, that have my kids, I can do that. So I can put in, I'm just going to send it to Danielle. I can put in a name, I can put in multiple names, and I can hit send. All right, boom. So that is now sent to that teacher and they can now incorporate it into the course. I mean, if you're saying how, this is where they would go. They would actually come up to their account and it's right here, instant shared content, all right? So you're gonna find your received content and these little 3 dots are magical in Canvas. Whoops. You can preview it, see if you like it, you can import it into your course, or you can remove it. So you have all of these choices for collaboration, just really quick, down and dirty, send a module of that accommodated work. Now, something else I really want to talk about is permissions and roles inside of Canvas. And I'm actually going to show this slide, and it's a little bit text heavy, and for that, I apologize. I'm also going to drop this in chat. It's actually out of the community. I'm going to copy and put it into chat so you can read it for yourself and not have to see my screen. So now this is a conversation that you might have to have with your Canvas admin. Get your resource teachers, general ed teachers, invite your resource teachers in as another teacher or at very least a TA. And TA role has all kinds of permissions, all right? They can do everything a teacher can do, including creating course content. So they can come in and see what their students are doing. They can come in and create that content for those students, all right? The only thing they can't do is they cannot create modified course sections or course groups. Everything else they can do, all right? This little section is what they can't do. So it's such a benefit to collaborate with your resource teachers, have that relationship inside of Canvas. Great option. So between the direct share, the TA permissions, yes. Thank you, Hank and Lynn Pennington. It is so key, all right? And ELL. I know the school that I really worked closely with was high Hispanic population. And that was the minority. And we just did not have, our poor ELL teachers were spread so thin. So this would be a great way. Also your speech language, great way to get in there, especially in the lower grades to work on those sounds. All right, so those are 2 awesome ideas for collaboration that we're going to be talking about. Also, inside of this, I want to highlight something that is a native to Canvas, and that is the Immersive Reader, all right? And this is going to support everyone as well, especially those ELL students that I just talked about. Now, it is on pages only, all right? So this is a page, and I have just put some text on here. Your Immersive Reader is at the top. Now, when I click on Immersive Reader, it turns into a screen reader. You can play it at the bottom, and you have some additional settings for voice speed, male or female, etc.
3 pigs read aloud. The 3 little pigs. Paragraph 1.
So what are use cases for this? I read aloud. Okay, sight words, vocabulary words, on and on we can go, all right? We can make a page especially for that. And I know you're way more creative than I could ever be, but those are some things that I used to use them for. Up here, I have text preferences. The students can adjust this. You don't adjust this. They get to adjust this. They can adjust the text size, increasing spacing. If you need high contrast, you can turn that on, all right? So that's under the double A, that first double A. In addition, let's talk about parts of speech. When I was in the second grade classroom, I would use my screen readers for everybody to highlight parts of speech, and you can do that. And I know in ELL, doing that apples to apples comparison, great stuff. So nouns, I can turn on all the nouns, see how they turn purple right there. And then you can start doing some really creative things with the parts of speech, with this highlight. And also you can show the labels. See how my nouns are turned on? It's just fantastic, all right? So lots of creative things you can do here. In the regular and special ed classroom, you can also do syllabication. Anybody who has done syllabication, it can be a challenge. So this spreads it out, showing how those phonetics are divided in whatever language it may be. I'm gonna turn that off really quickly. Last feature I'm gonna show you over here with my book, I've got line focus. Now, I can do 1, 3, or 5 lines, all right? This is taking place of those colored overlays that you would have students track with. So this is for tracking. When you play it, it goes with it.
Once upon a time, there were 3 little pigs, and the time came for them to leave home.
So it helps with focus, and this can help almost everyone, honestly, including myself. Sometimes I need that focus, to be honest with you. Picture, I'm going to turn my line focus off so you can see. Picture dictionary, fantastic. If I click a word, it shows me a picture of it and it says it.
Pigs. Time.
So great option there as well. Now, last tool in Immersive Reader, I'm going to highlight really quickly, translate. So if you are needing something to be translated to another language, let's see, I'm just going to choose, I'll just choose French. All right, now you can either do it by word or you can do it by document. So let me turn it to document. And you can see it has translated the rating, and when I play it.
3 cochons lus à haute voix. Les 3 petits cochons. Paragraphe 1. Il était une fois 3 petits cochons, et le temps est venu pour eux de quitter la maison. Et...
Nice feature. So again, use cases galore why you'd want to do this. ELL is not the only reason you would want to do this. Just simple read alouds, honestly. So really nice feature inside of Canvas. Definitely use it. All right. And then, of course, we will be going over LTIs, such as read and write, besides the Immersive Reader, and a couple of others, such as Helper Bird. Helper Bird is one of the most extensive free add-ons in Google I have ever used. Very useful. Right now it's paused, but this is Helper Bird. When I turn it on, it immediately turns to a dyslexic format. So I can turn it on. I don't know if you can see what's done to my Canvas page. It just is seamless inside of Canvas. Very easy. I can come in and I can turn on different options for font. I can manipulate my font size, word spacing, and it actually has Immersive Reader built into it as well. So we'll be talking about all these great things, how you can incorporate this into Canvas, and that's it in a nutshell. We certainly hope you come and to this new webinar.
That's awesome. And we really appreciate it. There's tons of comments coming in. Thanks, Anna. Is there any chance that Immersive Reader be added to new quizzes? Again, we're not product people, so we can't really answer that question, but I know that a lot of people were excited about Immersive Reader. Immersive Reader is amazing. People loved the TA access options. That was really cool. Love this translation part is an amazing feature that could be used daily in some schools. We did have a question earlier on in the chat that I thought maybe we'd bring up here. And if anybody has a question, now's a great time to ask it, whether it's in our comment section or in our live chat feature on YouTube. But right now, let's move on to Gina, who said she's from Sunrise, Florida. She has an ASD daughter in 4th grade. Was kind of curious if there's anything in Canvas that might help with her comprehension and reading, or any pointers. I think Immersive Reader is probably something that we've shown that maybe answers some of those questions. But are there any other helpful tips that you might have when looking specifically at someone that needs additional help in this area? Okay,
so number one, Gina, you have a heart. That reading comprehension is such a skill. So I really do have hopefully a helpful hint for you, and you can download the free version as well. The read and write, I already put that in. It's the text help products for free for teachers. You can also try and get it for free. Who's gonna stop you? Okay. Now watch them contact. I shouldn't have said that. Watch them contact me. The reason I say that this is going to be helpful for you is you can actually use read and write, and you can come in and you can highlight. So it has the ability, let me turn my helper bird off. Here we go. You can actually come in and highlight this. So let me scoot over to my student view, as a matter of fact. So when I come in as a student and I want to perhaps highlight something inside of a page, if I have not a great one I chose right there, but if I have read and write, I have these highlighters, and I can come in and I can actually highlight that. So do you see how it highlighted? So if your daughter is using Canvas, if they highlight it, so here's a teacher tip for you. Have her go back and highlight the evidence. All right, so if there is a comprehension question that the teacher has put in there, have her download this. You will still get these features even if it's free. Have her go highlight it and say, okay, is that the evidence? So this is a good tip to use in Canvas. And it just like, boom, it integrates really well.
That's awesome. We also had another comment come in from Khalid, my dude, very close. What's the app called, the one that came from the Google add-ons? Was it Helper Bird? I believe that's the one you were just showing a minute ago.
There's Helper Bird and there's Read and Write. So let me scoot back and grab you those links.
Okay.
Here's the Helper Bird. So here comes Helper Bird information. And also here's the Read and Write extension information add-on.
Awesome. A ton of resources today. I love it when we have a chance to connect with customers and give them like really cool tools to use that will enhance their Canvas experience. This is great. Thank you, Anne, so much.
You are so welcome. It's been my pleasure.
All right, so another Canvas Live in the books, and this one was super special, talking about special education with Anne in our Learning Services Training Department, one of our fantastic trainers over there. Appreciate you being here. As always, please subscribe, like, share, do all the things that would allow others to see the great content that we're putting out, because we're better together, and I think a lot of us know that. So here we go, another ending to another show. Thanks again, Anne. We appreciate it.
You're very welcome.